In life, we all face challenge. And my challenges that I'm going to talk about in this video might be triggering to other people. I promise it is the trigger with purpose, because my mission on YouTube is to help survivors learn how to cope and help other people understand survivors, so that we can all come together on the issue of abuse with a better understanding from multiple people's firsthand perspective. So I prepared to make this video by listening to Praying by Kesha, which is a song that when it came out, it just warmed my heart, because that's exactly how I feel about Sudeep and my relationship. First, it started with talking online, and I actually spoke to him on and off for a few years over Facebook, and I hadn't met him in real life, and he went to the same college that I went to, which made me trust him. And I realize now that that was not something that I should have done. I shouldn't just trust somebody because they went to my school. It just makes no sense. So we talked on and off, and then we started to Skype, and then he surprised me for Valentine's Day, where he messaged my mom, and it was actually really romantic and really sweet. People don't get into abusive relationships because they start off saying, I want to be abused. And these relationships start in these ways because abusers know that they're shitty humans, so they overcompensate in the beginning, so that way they can lock you into thinking that they're a better person than they are, because our first impressions really do mean so much that we can overlook things after that. So he was super romantic. It was Valentine's Day. I told him how I had bad Valentine's Days before, so I wasn't really into it. And I also have always thought it was a stupid holiday because of Saint Valentine and all of that stuff. So with the Valentine's Day thing, he came and surprised me, and he coordinated with my mom to pick him up at the train station, and he left at like 3 in the morning. And he actually, now thinking about it, which I didn't think about this before, he actually made me feel jealous and that was the first time that I actually remember feeling jealous. And that's one of the things abusers use, is doing things on purpose to make you feel jealous and uneasy, so that way it's like that whole, like, you want to overcompensate because you're jealous, and it fucks with your head. So he was telling me that he was gonna go meet a girl that's really talented, and he was alluding that he was going to go to like work with a musician, and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and that is normal of Berkeley people, so that's not like a crazy thing to me. I've done that before myself, where somebody like had somebody fall out, and then I need to go like help them out or whatever at 2 in the morning or something, because they do 2 a.m. sessions. So that's what I thought he was doing, is he was going to a studio session. And it turned out that he was on a train coming to see me. And so that was that first time that he used that jealousy to put me off kilter. So that was probably actually the first abusive thing that he did. I don't know, probably not. I keep, like, that's a new thing, that there was something that's happening after this that I thought was the first thing, but whatever. So there's always more layers. There's always more to discover whenever you think about this stuff, and journal about it, write about it. I've actually made a lot of videos that I'm probably never going to release about this, just because it was cathartic for me to talk to the camera. So he came to surprise me, and it was so romantic, so sweet. We were instantly like bonded, and it was so sweet and fun. And then I think the next day rolled around. So we were laying down in bed, and then he said, you know, I came all the way here to see you, and you're not really opening up to me. I feel that you still have walls up, and if you don't open up to me and drop the bullshit, then I'm going to just leave and never talk to you again. And that was definitely something that I marked as the first thing that he did that was abusive, because he's pushing my boundary. He's making the relationship go faster than it should, faster than I was actually comfortable with. And that was the first abusive thing that I recognized for a long time, because he was pushing my boundary to set me up to be in this Stockholm syndrome, where the Stockholm syndrome in relationships that are abusive, it starts out with love bombing, which is what this whole beginning period is a huge motherfucking love bomb. It's like heavy. It's so heavy to think about, because it was a heavy thing to live through. We continued to date on Skype, which in hindsight, all of that, like who I am today, all of those things are reasons to break up with somebody. Part of abuse is just pushing your boundaries and not respecting what your wishes are and what makes you happy and fulfilled. We continued to date, and I went back to Pennsylvania, he went back to Boston, and we would Skype still. And then I went to go visit him in Boston. This is when it became apparent he had a drinking problem. And because I stopped doing meth and stuff, and now I drink responsibly, like I literally drink a few times a year, and I literally bought a case of the apple cider vinegar over a year ago, and I still have a few left. Or not apple cider vinegar, oh my god, apple cider, hard apple cider. But it became apparent when I visited him in his domain that he had a serious drinking problem. The first time I visited him, it wasn't as apparent. I think maybe the second time. It was the June trip that it became apparent. And that was when he started physically abusing me, because that was when I started to blatantly tell him, you're drinking too much. This is bad. You're being an asshole when you're drunk. And then he started hitting me when he was drunk. So there was this one incident where I got these cuts on my lip, and that was when he hit me with a coffee mug, and then he kind of pretended that he was like it was an accident, and then he just like was drunk and didn't know what he was doing, and I accepted that because I was very insecure. Like looking back on that moment, I was accepting these things because I believed deep down that I deserved it. I believed that he was better than me, and that I was lucky to be with him because he was this amazing musician. And I was just so insecure in my, so I feel so much compassion for that part of myself, because I was so lost. And being raped really just messed with my head to an extent that people never talk about. Whenever your first sexual experience is being raped, it makes a ripple effect in your love life where you just feel like sex is bad. Sex is really warped, and it really just degraded my self-worth completely, and I just felt like I was a rag for men to use. It doesn't help that men in everyday life treat women like they are this object to attain and an object to be entitled to. Then came a day where I seriously thought I was going to fucking die. For some reason, he decided to call me, and he started to tell me he was going to come home. I was waiting at his house, and he said that he was gonna slit my throat, and I could hear him running and running and running, and then I was panicking, and then and I hung up, and then he kept calling me and distracting me, and I didn't even think, like, I was so just in a state of trauma fog. There was just this black fog all around me, and I could not see clearly. I could not see that I should call the fucking police. Although the cops in Boston are questionably helpful. Or leave the house, like escape, run. But at this point, I was pretty disabled because he was stressing me out, and that doesn't help MS at all. I'm actually way healthier now that I have no crazy people in my life, and I really honor my time and the people that I spend time with, and my health is better because of that. So I'm so honoring my time now, and that is something I learned, and that is a really, 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 really valuable lesson, honoring my time. And thank you so much for that, Sadeep. Thank you so, so much. I do not deserve to be treated like that. Like, it's crazy to me that I even believed that. Like, it's like it makes me want to laugh because it's so ridiculous. It is ridiculous that I thought it was okay to continue to date somebody that said he was gonna slit my motherfucking throat. That's crazy. If anybody ever even jokes about slitting your throat, fucking leave. Like, for real. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, let me rephrase, rewind that. If anybody ever told me they were going to slit my throat again, even in joking terms, I would never talk to them again. And I would tell them exactly why. And I just don't feel that that's something appropriate to joke about in general. And that's also something that abusers can use as jabs, because he would say stuff like that in the beginning. So that beating was horrible. I have an audio. So what I did think to do was I saw recording equipment around me, and I thought, oh shit, I should fucking record this. And then I hit the record button. Yes. I literally hit the record button. I was last second. In the beginning of the recording, you can hear, I heard him running up the stairs, and that was when I hit record, and then I could hear the door bust open, the outside door, and then you can hear the door to his room, and it was just like, no. Stop. Stop.
So what? What do you have left? What do you have left?
Peace. Please stop.
That was a horrifying day. I literally thought I was going to die. I thought he was going to slit my throat. And it was one of the most horrible things I've survived. And it was terrifying. I have a recording of the entire time. It's an hour and 38 minutes. In that recording, it's absolutely horrifying. I'm going to play a section of it, and just, this is absolutely real, not acting. This is me being beaten. And the part that I'm going to play, I literally do not remember that, because my mind separated and went somewhere else and just blocked this stuff out, which is why I'm so glad I got a recording of it for my own records, so that I was able to realize how much I forget of it. And I remember the beginning, few minutes, and then it's flashes after that. So it was really fascinating. I have an amazing brother who sat with me and listened to the entire thing one time, because I wanted to know what happened. So I've listened to the whole thing once. I listened to part of it with a friend, but I wasn't ready yet. And it was just, well, here is an excerpt.
Here
are doing it. You are. Stop. Stop. Please. Please.
Tell me your story, bitch. Tell me what's your fucking story. Tell me what's your story. You have lied to me for 3 fucking... You know who the fuck I am. You fucking pathetic. Fucking nymph. I chose you.
I lied to myself.
You're a fucking slut. I chose you.
Who are you right now?
You wanna know who I am?
I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm not.
So yeah, that was horrible, but he somehow convinced me that he thought that I was possessed and that he was trying to help me by getting a demon out of me, which that actually, in my mind, I started to think he had schizophrenia and he needed help. And then I started going into like, I want to help him mode, which is, yeah. So because of that, I didn't actually do what I should have done and dump his ass for beating me almost to death. But whenever people go through things like this is when the Stockholm Syndrome really plays in. And I realize now that I was like hardcore judging myself. Now I judge myself a little bit still because like it just seems so obvious. But then when you actually go in and read more about the psychological things that they're studying with this, when he made me feel like I was going to die, he actually made me bond to him stronger because of Stockholm. And Stockholm is when you bond with that person with a primal bond that is built into us when we come out of the womb and bond with our mother, because we're afraid we're gonna die. So we bond with that person as a strong person. So in my mind, he's physically strong, so I should bond with him. I did not tell my parents that this happened, and I'm disabled, so my parents, I live with them because I cannot care for myself because of my MS. Because of this trauma bond that I ended up forming with him, I still was under his control. I did not tell my parents because he convinced me that he had schizophrenia, although he did not. I don't think he knows that I thought that. Anywho. I don't know if he really has schizophrenia, but I think that when he told me that, that was really crazy. And schizophrenia, from what I've read, is the most likely thing, but it could be something else. But I think that's mentally unstable to think that. And if you hear the rest of the recording, he's very mentally unstable. It's not normal drunk people stuff. My brother did suggest that it could also have been him doing like meth or PCP or something, and that does make sense. He could have done like a serious drug and not just been drunk, and that could be why he sounded really crazy in that recording. That shit was scary. I can't. It's like whenever I don't think about this stuff. Like, I've just been living my life and focusing on my health and focusing on, you know, me and growing and learning and educating myself on business and stuff. And, you know, what I can do as a disabled person career-wise and figuring out all of these things. That's what I've been focusing on. So when I think about this shit, it's like ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that I thought I deserved that, because the person I've grown into today is just like, I want to be like, Jessica, you don't deserve this. But I had to live through it in order to realize that I didn't deserve it. And I had to be pushed so far to snap, to really be like, no, these beliefs are complete bullshit and I want to let go of them. They're not my truth anymore, and I'm going to work really, really hard to let go of this shit. And I realized that I was the common denominator with my abusive relationships. So although you can't, like, the abuser is fucking abusive and they should all be in jail for the rest of their lives as far as I'm concerned, because they're dangerous. But as a person that's getting abused, I do have some responsibility in it, because I did not educate myself the first time I had abusive relationships. And I didn't realize how I've literally never had a healthy relationship. Every single relationship that I think back on has some element of abuse, and the ones, and they just vary in different ways. But none of those people respected my boundaries. None of them respected me. And that's because I didn't respect myself. So I attracted people that don't respect me. And when people respect themselves, they also hang out with other people that respect themselves, because they can feel that in each other. You can feel a person's confidence. I know that I feel different. When I look at videos of myself before and videos now, like, here, let me insert a clip of myself after this stuff happened. I don't know, I'm gonna find something and show you how different I was. So I took the iPad and I needed to use it because while they were at the bar, I was using it. The day he left my house and left my life for good, he ended up, I'm not going to tell you all the details now because it's just a lot, but it was really, really bad. He ended up punching me unconscious in this very spot, actually. I filmed this video in a strategic spot because I feel so empowered by this. This is literally where I was laying unconscious. And I woke up. He punched me and my head fell on the rug, thank God, because my door was open and I fell in here. My feet were still in the outside, which is hardwood floor. And I got my feet and I pushed myself inside once I woke up to this motherfucker laughing like a comic book villain. Like, legit, the most terrifying, bone-chilling laughter. He did not check my pulse. I know people that they've been beaten unconscious and they woke up to that person checking their pulse and then saying sorry. None of that. No, not him. He was laughing, standing over my unconscious body. He did not know if I was alive or dead, and he thought it was funny. And that's the most terrifying motherfucking thing that I've ever heard in my life. So congratulations. Too bad I did not get an audio recording of that. It was so empowering because I went from being so terrified, and that was the moment. Waking up to that bone-chilling laughter is the moment that switch flipped. And the lights opened for my life. And light flooded into my brain. And I became so empowered. I called the police. I stood up for myself. I went to court. I spoke my truth. I did the pointing thing. Is this the man that beat you? Yes, that's him. And all that stuff. And it was like a movie. It was so ridiculous. I can't even, like, as I was in court talking at his sentencing, like, the stuff that came out of my mouth, it's like, as the truth comes out, you're just like, why was I with this dude? Like, trauma bonds you so hard that logic defies everything. There is no logic. And that's the point. And I think some people know it and purposely do it. And I think some people are just really messed up and then they end up hurting people. But I think he knew what he was doing. I think he thought he was better at it than he really was. And I think that it didn't work out for him the way he thought it was gonna work out. But I don't know, like, I don't know what he thought was gonna happen, because like, even if I hadn't called the cops in that moment, like, I mean, thinking back, good God, if my parents had gotten home, my parents were out of town when this happened, of course, on business, both of them on 2 separate business trips, and they were both coming home the next day. And if they were both home when he did this, I'm glad that they were out of town, and I got the opportunity to empower myself and stand up for myself and call the cops and have him arrested. And it was incredibly traumatic. I literally remember the cops going, okay, I'm telling too many details of the story again. Oh my God, I could talk forever. I want to make so many videos about this because I learned so much and I have so much to share about it. And it was so empowering. And ultimately, it's some of the best stuff that ever happened to me, because I am living now more than I've ever lived in my life. I am happier than I've ever been. And I have something to live for. Sharing my truth with you. Being able to connect with other survivors and let them know that they're not alone. Being able to see the wonder in life. Being able to feel gratitude for all that I do have. And all of the knowledge that I've attained from all of these experiences. The depth that it's brought my soul. I think that too, as you expand as a person, the darker that you get equally the great stuff. And I feel immense, passionate, beautiful feelings on the other end that I've never felt before. And it's because I allowed myself to go into the darkness of my life and really face it and face my truth and face the fact that I didn't love myself. I abused myself more than any of these other people did. For one, I killed myself, so none of them did that to me. So I stabbed myself. Nobody stabbed me other than myself. Like, I've still hurt myself more than they have. Although the brain damage and accelerating my MS, I guess that's worse than getting stabbed, because then it led to me feeling like I'm getting stabbed 1,000,000 times. Yeah, I'm gonna go with what he did was worse. Actually. Maybe that's why I actually snapped out of it, because somebody finally went further than I did. Ooh, that's a really good point. Maybe that's why I really snapped out of it too. Maybe that's a contributing factor. See? I love making these videos because I learn more as I explain it and as I think about into it, because I don't think about this stuff. And I don't know, I only think about it if I want to learn from it. Like, I go over conversations and what I could have said, what was somebody doing that was inappropriate, was somebody pushing my boundaries. Like, now I think about all of this stuff with every interaction I have with people. And I've learned all of these skills with how to read people and how to assess their character and how I really should judge people, but judge them in a direct way. Judge them in a way that is towards my safety and sanity and mental clarity, because I love myself enough to only have people that contribute positively in my life. And I no longer think that I'm a piece of shit that deserves to be knocked unconscious by the man that says he wants to marry you. I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe I deserve any time that he called me a bitch. I don't think I deserved it any of the times he called me a cunt. I don't think I deserved it any of the times he called me a concubine, which was in the recording and I had to Google because I didn't even know what that meant, but I had heard the word before. But you know, when you're getting called a concubine, you're like, what the fuck is that? Search. The definition of concubine. Now you know. Life is crazy and wild, and you know, I had a really nice time with him in the beginning, and I can be grateful for that time, and I can smile when I think about how it was romantic what he did for Valentine's Day, but it wasn't real. It wasn't from his heart. It was from his brain thinking about how he can manipulate me. So I'm grateful that I got a chance to love, but I feel bad for him because when you're thinking all the time about manipulating somebody and you're strategically doing things because of that, you're not really getting to experience the love part, which to me is the fun part that's awesome. So because he spent so much time scheming, he didn't get to really feel the love that was there. And I have a lot of love to give to myself and to those around me. And now I'm just more strategically careful and just super, super picky about who I share that with. And I'm learning all of these skills and things to cope with life and anything that it brings. And I'm also learning about people and what I should look for and what I should consider abusive and what is pushing a boundary. And I've really taken the time to really meditate a lot, do a lot of yoga, center myself to figure out, who am I? What do I actually want? What fulfills my soul? And how can I make that into a career, lifestyle? How do I integrate that into my life so that I feel beautifully fulfilled? And I thought about making YouTube videos. And I thought about sharing the things that I've learned, sharing the food that I love, and the recipes I love to make, share my beauty stuff that I do because I love beauty. And whenever I do treatments and stuff to myself, I just feel this goddessy energy that just wraps around me and makes me smile. And just, that's why every week I have my Sunday where it's my self-love day, where I just dedicate everything that I do that day to loving myself. Whether it's finishing up a project that I love, that's a passion project and not just something because of a deadline, or actually doing a bunch of beauty treatments. I do acid peels every week, and I just really envelop loving myself. And it's such a beautiful way to live. And it sure beats how I felt every day before, because I felt like shit and I felt like I deserved shit. And it's been so empowering for me. And I hope that seeing this can bring you hope and peace. And I'm also going to upload the video of me singing the Kesha song separately because copyright, but it's just me jamming out to prayer. So I just thought it was super fun. And yeah, it was a really fun, uplifting way to prepare to do this video. And I'm so grateful. I really am just so grateful for everything that I've learned and how strong I've become. And like, that song just hits all of the points. The only thing I don't resonate with is the song where the line where she says something about how nobody will know your name anymore. Like, I think that's like, I don't care if people know him or not, or if he becomes famous as a musician. He is a very talented musician. That really is something that's a huge strength of his. It's just his character that's flawed, or was flawed. I don't know if he's worked on himself. I really do pray that he used all of this as a learning tool, but I don't know. I don't know about him. So I'm gonna make a bunch of little videos based on, I made a bunch of notes during that time, and I really want to go and dissect everything and do it in little parts so that I don't have a long video like this every time that I talk about it, hopefully. Or if you want that, like, let me know if you like this kind of video. But I feel that smaller videos might be more concise, of just, there's a lot of little things that add up in learning from abusive relationships. There isn't like one huge piece of advice that like cleared the skies for me. I really do visualize the whole the like orb around the bubble around us thing, which I'll show you my bubble video and what I believe about bubbles. But I really do believe that, and I really feel like you just gotta scrub your bubble. And I had a super, super dirty bubble, and it had grime and grease, and I had to like do a lot of cleaning. And you can't just do that in one day when you have that much stuff built up. And you do layer by layer by layer, slowly every day, because doing it all at once is like too much for the heart, I think, to handle. Like, I think that's one reason people have like panic attacks, because it's like too much. Yeah, so I feel like I just really needed to clean my bubble. And now my days are spent doing regular maintenance, where I'm just cleaning a little bit every day, because I don't have that buildup, and I just maintain it every day. Just like brushing your teeth, you know, like if you have a ton of cavities, you can, you know, you need that big overhaul where you get them all removed and all of that stuff, but you still need to brush your teeth every day after that. Otherwise you'll get more cavities, and then you'll have to have them all dug up and have a big surgery again. But if you just do the maintenance properly every day and do what your soul needs every day, to whatever that is, so that you feel like you're centered and you can lay your head on the pillow with peace in your heart. When I go to bed, I feel at peace now. And like in this spot, in this very spot, somebody knockout punched me, unconscious, in this very spot. Yet I can command this spot again as my own, and sit here in gratitude because I'm at peace. Yeah, it was horrible. I thought I was gonna die. And I thought that if I died, you would be laughing over my dead body. And that's not a very nice thing to have to think about somebody. And what does that mean about love? Is that love? That's not the love I want. I don't think that he really loved me the way that I loved him. And that's not on me, that's on him. I have the capacity to love. And now that I'm discerning, I'm confident that I'm only gonna have good people in my life, which is already happening, so pretty good to be confident in, pretty easy to be confident in. But yeah, we can find peace within the pain. It's a lot of work. But man, this spot, now it makes me feel and think about how I was empowered in this spot. This spot is the place that I got the courage to stand up for myself and call the fucking police and actually hold somebody accountable for their actions, because their actions were wrong. And I don't care anymore that it affected his school and that he didn't graduate. I cared about that, and I felt guilty. I felt so guilty for a long time that he wasn't going to graduate because of this charge of assault and I think harassment. But that's not on me. That's not my shit. It's my job to stand up for myself. It's my job to speak my truth. And it's my job to love myself. Numero uno. And I'm doing that now. it's possible. And now this space is a space of empowerment. And by making this video, I'm solidifying that. This is the place I stood up for myself when I was knocked unconscious. And now it's also the place that I'm standing up for myself and all victims by telling the truth. Speaking my truth is one of the most empowering things in this situation. We aren't alone. You are not alone. It sucks to live through. But man, I built some muscles. I built some strength that was inconceivable to me before. My spirit is so strong, I can endure pain that most people cannot. And I have you to thank for that. It does suck that you accelerated my MS, but it's my teacher as well. All of these things are opportunities to learn. All of the things that give me pain are things to learn from. Pain is my teacher. When we feel pain, that means there's something agitating us that we need to fix. Whether it's a splinter in our foot or a splinter in our mind. But now I'm around people that bring the best out of me because they honor me and they love me and they don't put me down. When you're constantly badgering people, putting them down, fucking with their heads, you don't get the best of them. He will never get to experience this version of me because he was so focused on fucking with my head, controlling me, manipulating me, and abusing me that he never got the chance to feel the love, to feel the empathy, the compassion, the passion. I am such a passionate person. And he just squashed my passion. And because of that, he never got to experience the beauty of that. And I'm glad for that. I'm glad he never got to experience the best of me. But to anybody that's an abuser out there, if you're watching this, that's what you're doing to yourself. You're actually making your life worse because you'll never get to experience the things that whoever I date next will get to experience. Because I'm not going to put up with anything like this ever again. Ever again. I'd rather die alone with a bunch of dogs and cats and animals, snakes and lizards, and I'll have a fucking zoo before I date somebody like any of these people ever again. Because I love myself. So I redecorated my room. I have these lights illuminating this dark place because I have that control. I empowered myself. And I created this wonderful room with twinkly lights and plants hanging and beautiful new curtains and rearranging everything. And I'm so glad you never got to experience this part of me. You don't deserve it. Sadeep, if you're watching this, that's what I have to say. I feel empathy for the part of me that felt I deserved it. I feel so sad for that. And I feel so sad for you not getting to experience full love. When you keep doing these things to people, you're diminishing them, which is your goal because you seem to be too insecure, so you need to diminish others so that you feel better. But when you let people shine and you raise people up when you come in the room, you get to see the best of them. You get to bring happiness into their life. And you get to really feel it when you're not thinking of scheming. I don't know. if you realized that, but now you heard me say it. Maybe that will light a light bulb. I really do hope you find peace in life, and what you did was really horrible, and I hope that you really face the full horror of that. I hope you really do listen to the full recording, because I think it's really good for you to really face who you really are. It was really good for me to face who you really are and really process how horrible I think I deserve to be treated. That recording, that is what I learned. That is one thing that I learned. Really processing how horrible it was and really facing how horrible it was, and then realizing how fucked up I was for thinking I deserved that and thinking it's okay and not dumping you immediately after. I don't really know how you got me to stay, but it was really traumatic, and it was really horrible of you to do those things. Yeah. And I hope that you find peace and love, and I send you love. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to empower myself. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and if you want to join this family of healing, then subscribe and make a comment and say hi and like this video if you like it. I hope you have a beautiful day. Mwah. Bye!